everyone. 2025 is over. And you know what that means? A new year means a new video where I get together a bunch of content creators, VTubers, and we talk about what our favorite game of 2025 that we played was. I'm excited. Should be some good games to see, some good recommendations to start the new year with, and hopefully 2026 we get even more awesome games. So let's go ahead and get us started. 2025 had some fantastic games come out, like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Silksong, and Death Stranding 2. But the game that stole my heart for 2025 was a remake of a beloved game, Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 was the game that got me into the Shin Megami Tensei series, playing Fez on PS2. I later played it on the PSP, but the new version, Reload, has so many quality of life improvements. It's the optimal way to play the game. I spend hours every morning climbing up Tartarus, maxing out all the social links. I even was able to defeat the Reaper for the first time. It's a wonderful game with themes of overcoming grief and living your best life with the time you have left. If you're looking for a starting point for the Persona series, or even just a good JRPG in general, I definitely recommend Persona 3 Reload.
Set in the era of the Cold War, human guinea pigs are involuntarily recruited by the good folks at the Murkoff Corporation to test advanced methods of brainwashing and mind control. In a world of distrust, fear, and violence, your morals will be challenged, your endurance tested, and your sanity crushed, all in the name of progress, science, and profit. Or so they say on the Outlast Trials wiki. Outlast Trials is a competitive first-person psychological horror video game developed by Red Barrels, the makers of Outlast 1 and Outlast 2, and Outlast DLC Whistleblower. It is the third installment in the Outlast series, serving as a prequel to the first two games. Taking place during the Cold War and revealing the origins of Murkoff's horrific experiments that ultimately lead to the events in Outlast 1 and Outlast 2. This game specifically focuses on the torture and the brainwashing methods through its reagent program. You are the reagent. There are direct lore drops, like Dr. Wernickel's involvement in the early versions of the Exposed enemies, which are all in the same universe but featuring new characters and gameplay. If you've played the Outlast games, you might see some of the enemies from Outlast Trials in Outlast 1 and Outlast 2, as they're all set in the same universe. Outlast Trials specifically, like I said, you are the reagent. You go through trials, trying to escape and do tasks to survive and prove to the Murkoff gods that you are worthy of being set free. The trials are broken up into different sections. Right now, the trials are broken up into different sections: escalation therapy, psychosurgery, etc., etc. Usually, it's just a level system, but there also can be special challenges depending on events going on or the time of the year, like Christmas or Halloween. There are currently 45 different trials and MK challenges that you can play. MK challenges are shorter versions of trials that have you go through the same maps, dealing with the same enemies, but completing different parts of the lore and story. So let me tell you a little bit about the enemies you might see. The main enemies, or the prime assets, are the big bad of the maps. There are 5 of them currently. We have Mother Gooseberry, or Mother, who is a woman who chases you around the map with a puppet who has a drill for a mouth on her wrist, who she calls Daddy. We have Leland Coyle, or the Warden, who is a cop who likes to tase his bulls. We have Franco, or the Baby, who is a man who loves to dress as a baby and make sexual comments and shoot you with a shotgun. We have Otto and Aurora, or the Incest Twins, which are conjoined twins that throw poison at you. We now have Liliana, which is a mannequin who chases you around the map and pounces on you from behind. There also are other enemies like grunts, crawlers, prowlers, which are the baseline enemy you deal with. There can also be special assets, but those aren't in every map. I personally have been playing Outlast Trials since its release. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into the beta, but I hopped on that as soon as I could. I have 100%ed all the achievements, and I play almost monthly with every new update and event that they have. I personally think it's a great co-op horror game, one of the best on the market. I played it a lot in 2025. It has the scares, the gore, the lore, and it's just fun to play with friends. There are a few bugs, especially when there are new updates and content dropping, but nothing close to what I've seen in other co-op horror games. Connecting with your friends and playing with your friends is very easy. All you have to do is just join the lobby and play the game you want to play. There are cool things you can add in addition, like invasion missions, which is basically Dark Souls invasion, but in this, someone can join your game as an invader and then look like one of your friend's skins and just wreak havoc in your game. I personally have never tried that, but I have seen videos and it does look very fun. I'm just a little scared. As a whole, I genuinely think Outlast Trials is a great game. It's scary, it's fun, it's entertaining, and there's new content coming out every month, basically. Its replayability is great. There are prestige missions that you can do. There are things you can unlock by only getting to level 99 and going beyond. It's just genuinely a really, really fun game.
Oh, hi Bien, and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays in general. Zara reached out to me again this year to talk about one of the games that had left the most impression of me or had the most influence of me. And this time it's not a new game for me, not even by a long shot. It is one, however, one of the most games that did the most for me over my time. It's Secret of Mana from the Mana series, or in Japanese known as the Seiken Densetsu series. This is the second game, and while I will be talking mostly about this one because it's finding the randomizer for it has reignited my love for the series. With the series recently getting some new entries and remakes and remasters over the last 10 years or so, I want to say. Well, maybe even less, but this game got packed into a collection with the first game in the series, which was known as Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, if I recall. No, Final Fantasy Adventure. Then there was up till then unreleased in the West Seiken Densetsu 3, now known as Trials of Mana, which was also in the same collection. We later also got the Legend of Mana remaster, as well as the remake for the Trials of Mana. So a lot of has been going on, and last year we even got a completely new game in Visions of Mana, which so far I haven't finished yet, sadly enough. Time constraints and all that, but I was really enjoying it, what I've played so far, so it was a really good thing. And earlier this year, not even earlier this year, I discovered the randomizer, which I am currently playing here. Which have brought back me some love for the more love for the series, because old game that I really loved already, now I'm able to play it in a different way, which is always fun to do. It's something that randomizers really taught me to love. One of my first randomizers was for Symphony of the Night, but this one is probably my third randomizer that I got into. And I really like it. It really shows how a game can be played if given some alternate options to tinker around with. I'm going the wrong way here, but overall what I like about the series is the music is always excellent. It has a pretty unique art style in general. Sadly, it isn't always on display as much as as you want it to be, but because a lot of the series are sprite-based, the later entries, starting from I think Dawn of Mana from the PlayStation 2, started becoming based on 3D models, but overall those are pretty good as well. So, what I wanted to say, yeah, as you can probably hear, the music is pretty excellent. The intro theme of this game in particular is pretty much timeless in my opinion. But overall speaking, it's an action RPG series which stays true to its roots in most cases. It has some side games that like to mix things up a little bit. See. But overall speaking, yeah, it sticks true to being a action RPG. This one has a charge system that if you oh wait, I have also randomized music on this one. So yeah, the music. Yeah, if you do an attack, then the meter starts charging, and you need to wait for it to fill until you can do full damage again. It makes for an interesting combat mechanic. It also makes the combat slow down a little bit in certain cases. So but considering bosses generally have some thing where they can just attack you or not, it's kind of like sometimes it can come in handy, other times not as much. But yeah, overall, I think more people should give this series a try. It has several entries now. I think Visions of Mana, which was released, is like the 6th or 7th mainline entry? Not exactly sure there, because between the various games there has been some time in between where they didn't get any releases, so I think Dawn of Mana was one of the latest releases until they started with the remasters, remakes and repackaging of the older games. But yeah, if you are really into action RPGs, especially those more of a... Overall speaking, I think more of a relaxed style of action, because generally they tend to be more about when you hit rather than just full on going berserk mode on enemies. I would say give the series a try, especially if Secret of Mana has had some issues, but Seiken Densetsu 3 or, well, Trials of Mana, I still need to get used to that it has an English name at this point, but it's especially good as well. But yeah, and if you have played it already, give the randomizers a try for those games that are out. The Secret of Mana one is really fun because it has an open world option, so... That being said, again, thank you, Zara, for giving me the opportunity to rant a little bit about this game again. And, well, everyone, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. And I hope to see you on the next one.
Hello everyone, my name is Professor Fang. I am a Demon Hellwolf VTuber, and I mostly play Souls games, so it should come to no surprise that my pick for Game of the Year is Elden Ring Night Rain. I've put about 250 hours into this game, platinumed it alongside Lumilahs, my partner in the game, and also a fellow VTuber and streamer. We've put in a lot of hours to do every single thing, beat all the bosses, do all of the DLC, get the platinum trophy or whatever it is on Steam, do all of the challenge bosses. We've quite literally labbed this game quite a lot, trying a ton of different combinations. And shout out to Confident Cow and EldritchHorrorOfBread, who we've also played a lot with in this game. The cool thing about this game is that it's very contained. Like, a run can take about 40 minutes to an hour, and basically you are working with your friends to go around this map that is both randomized, but also you can kind of predict where things are generally going to be because it is a roguelike. And basically you're choosing your character, whether it's a melee, range, support, spellcaster, and you're working with your team to create the best build to beat the final boss at the end of the night. It can be very frustrating sometimes because it's a roguelike. Like, you don't know what you're going to run into at points, and all of a sudden the strategy and the routing, figuring out what weapons you're going to use, the management of your items gets really haphazard. But the fun of it comes from synergizing with your team, whether it's randos online or friends. And this game is definitely best with friends who you're actively communicating with on Discord to figure out, okay, where are we going to go next? Do we split up to take this on? Do we work together to fight this? How are we going to do it? And the best part of this game is not only the value you get out of the co-op, but also the fact that it's such a love letter to the entire Souls franchise, because there are enemies and bosses from all the Souls games, including Dark Souls 2. And of course, like, original enemies, which are mostly the Night Lords and the bosses. So it's just such a pleasure to run through. And again, for me, the big fun of it is strategizing with your friends. You know, figuring out what routes you're going to take. Debating, is it going to be worth getting this health flask, or do we sacrifice it to get more powerful? So after 250 hours in this game, I can say it's not perfect. It definitely has its issues, but it is a lot of fun, especially if you enjoy, one, hanging out with friends, and two, you like a good Souls challenge. So this is my game of the year.
2025 had a lot of great games that I really loved, including Sonic Racing Crossworlds, TMNT Splintered Fate, and Shinobi Art of Vengeance. But my favorite game of the year is actually not a Sonic one for once. That honor goes to Pac-Man for Pac-Man World 2 Repack. This is a remake of the GameCube era platformer Pac-Man World 2, and it's a really good one. Basically, Pac-Man World 2 is a platformer that, if I'm being honest, is a bit generic. You got your grass world, you got your volcano world, ocean world, and whatnot. But it does everything with such an air of fun and charm, and the remake is no different. What I really love about the remake is, while it follows the blueprint of the original, it's not afraid to change things up. Stages are redone and reimagined, and exciting new gimmicks are thrown in. The bosses are fixed. In the original game, they were all kind of just mechs of the ghosts, but now they're all different animals where they're very different. You'll have a frog and an owl and a polar bear and a spider and a volcano, which is my personal favorite. I think that this game, being unafraid to change things, made it a wonderful remake because it was fresh, but it still respected the original. Add on that you could customize the village, you could play arcade games like Pac-Man, Pac-Attack, and Pac-Mania, and it's just a great package overall. One thing I really love that they added is that Pac-Man talks in this one. Now, Pac-Man didn't talk in the original Pac-Man World 2, but he was voiced in Pac-Man World 3 by Martin T. Sherman. And Martin is back as Pac-Man, and he's phenomenal. He just makes Pac-Man sound like some dad, and it's great. He's so charming and likable. One thing that I really appreciate about this game is that it's not afraid to get difficult. It starts off easy, and then it gets pretty hard. Some of the bosses might be too hard. And then there's a whole post-game that is just wildly difficult, but really exciting. So overall, I think this is just a wonderful 3D platformer, and a huge success for Pac-Man. He's back, baby! But I have to also mention that Sonic is technically in this game. There's a Sonic DLC collaboration where Pac-Man travels to Green Hill and teams up with Sonic to fight Dr. Eggman, and, you know, I had to squeeze Sonic somewhere into this, and technically he's part of the game, so this is all fair game. But yeah, Pac-Man World 2 Repack, it's worth every penny. I highly recommend it. You can even dress up Pac-Man in a cowboy hat.
Hey there everybody, it's JayBeingNatural here, and I want to talk to you guys about what I considered my Game of the Year 2025, Balatro for the PlayStation 5. Now Balatro is absolutely an easy to understand but difficult to master sort of game, because you are going through 8 rounds of poker, quote unquote, as you try to take a hand of 8 cards, try to maximize the use of your draws and discards to get the best hand possible, and to score the most amount of chips to get through a blind. Every third blind is a boss blind, which gives you an added challenge to beating through a hand. Like, some cards are debuffed, some cards will discard after you play a hand, or the score just ramps up that you need to pass with. But there's a few ways you can get past those difficult boss blinds, or even those later game small and big blinds. It's the shop, and that's what makes this game a roguelike, because you can buy stuff like tarot cards, planet cards, vouchers, playing card decks so you can get increased or special cards that allows you to play a hand again, gives you money to buy in the shop, even lets you increase the multiplier in the score. But the big help you'll get at the shop is what's the main part of the game, the jokers. Now, jokers can help you out in different ways if you know how to play the game. There's some that are default, there's some that gives you a little extra buff, like the one I used, that if for every $5 you have in the shop, the multiplier goes up. There's also joker cards that decrease after each round you play, like the popcorn bucket. So you have to play your joker cards right. There's also planet cards, like I said, that helps you increase the strength of your poker hands that you play. There's also tarot cards that can upgrade the cards so that you can either play them again, or in my case, you can have a chance in either getting a high multiplier or extra cash, or in some cases, both. You're just not going to be able to put this down once you play it, because you just want to keep playing. You're going to want to try again. And that's what makes it so fun, you know? Because it's that little mechanic, that gameplay loop, because there's no story to Balatro. But it doesn't matter, because it proves that you don't need a story to have a good time with a game. And that's why Balatro is my game of 2025, even though it came out in 2024. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya!
Hello everybody, my name is Lumilahs, and my game of the year is Elden Ring Night Ring. I'm just kidding, that is Professor Fang's. Hopefully I'm after his video. If not, I'll redo this. Anyway, my game of choice is Final Fantasy 16. I had a choice to play it this year. A lot of fun. I took it from a recommendation from a friend of mine, and he was pressuring me, because he's a huge Final Fantasy fan, and this game's great. This game is immaculate. This game is a wild ride. It is an adventure. Someone who struggled to play Final Fantasy VII Remake. I have some choice words. If you want to hear my TED Talk on it, I'm more than glad to give it to you. But this was fun. This was everything that I wanted out of an RPG. Straightforward combat, nothing too surprising. I liked all of the powers you get. I know some people might have some beef with the story. I liked it. It was fun. Nothing ever really surprised me. So, some things I wanted to mention. I just liked how real it was. The characters the entire time. This is not a happy story. But it's a kind of a fun. There's no questions about it. It's real. Life is real. Combat's real. People die when they're killed. Everybody, I liked Clive the entire time. He's such a good being. I love the voice actor. I can see why everyone loves him. I am blanking on the voice actor at the moment, but you can't miss him. All the summons. Ifrit, Bahamut, Phoenix, Eva, Titan, Garuda. Everybody is just great. The boss battle's super cinematic. I did take time off between like game sessions, but I would come back. I would do like a major plot point, then come back, and it was just so enjoyable to play it in those snippets of life. I know if you play this game back to back to back, it might get a little too much because there's just a lot going on. I remember Hopefully not too much spoilers, but there's a fight. There's several fights, and you just finish, and you're just, jeez, I need to go take a walk. I need a drink. A lot just happened, but really great, wonderful game. I think everybody should try it if you've never played a Final Fantasy game. I know people don't like it for some degree, but it's fun.
As of late, I've been playing the pixel remastered of the original 6 Final Fantasy games. I'm on 3. It's super fun so far. But also I've been playing some Kingdom Hearts, which is an amazing story-based game, as I normally enjoy story-based games. Kingdom Hearts 3 is what I'm on, and Donald still sucks as a mage. There's also the very scary games we call Dead Space, and yeah, I don't want to go back playing that game. And then there's those really, really, really bad games. I had 4 particular games that I thought would be good to call the game of the year. One of them is Hades 2's because Zeus! My second option for game of the year would have been Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. The gameplay itself is very interesting, especially with the monsters you attack through with each level you're going through. But the story itself is really compelling, especially when going through the steps of grief with the main character on here. But also the music itself is a banger. I highly recommend to listen to Helling. The third option would have been Killer Frequency, which, interesting enough, is a horror puzzle game. Your radio show host, a 911 agent, calls in and tells you, hey, you are now tasked to take all 911 calls as we are unable to reach out for help from any other local cities. Your job is to make sure everybody stays alive while trying discovering the mysteries of who this mysterious killer is and the secrets of the city you have just moved in.
Yeah, you got a very nice face.
And the fourth option, which I have considered as my game of the year. So, the game of the year I have picked is Crime Scene Cleaners. You play as a high school janitor named Konvolsky. He is currently trying to pay off some medical bills for his daughter as she is in intensive care for cancer. Currently, you are running way behind and you are hitting to the point that if you do not do something, the hospital won't be able to pay for her treatments. Until one fateful day, you get a friendly little call. Your late best friend's son, Tyler, has contacted you as he had a messy spill with a dealer. Now, you originally was not planning to go out, because why would you handle such a mess? But one, you've made a promise to your best friend that you would watch over to his son after his death. And two, Tyler has promised you money, and you need that very much desperately. With determination and the need of money, you drive to the shady apartment, give a call to Tyler, tell him he's here, and surprise, surprise, Tyler said, nah, I kinda left, but I left you some money in one of the rooms, so good luck, Captain. After you clean up the whole mess of the shady apartment and finding out the dealer was very much of a psychopath, you get a call from and he tells you, man, you did a really good job cleaning that. Hey, I'm gonna hire you to clean up all my other messes and crime scenes, and you do not get a choice. You will get paid very handsomely, but if you decide to part ways with me, I don't know what to tell you. It's either your life or nothing, buddy. So, reluctantly, you accept, and you have become the Mafia's special little golden boy and cleaning up all their dirty little secrets. At this moment right now, there is a total of 10 levels on story mode that is including the introduction level, which is the shady apartment where you've been first hired. From there, you are then taken to different locations that does change via what the locations is. One of them would be a spa, and another one would be a pizza parlor. There are special modes in each location after you finish the story mode, and those are the Halloween edition of each location. Even now, they are still working on making some updates, and the most recent one is called The Community, which includes 2 new locations. One a laboratory on a secret island, and one is a game development team that has gone wrong. This game should sound a little bit familiar, because Markiplier played it on his channel before.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and I am a fish.
Yes, Mark. But this game is just basically a sit-back game and just clean in the area you're tasked to do. It's kind of like Power Wash Simulator, or the Vectra cleanup detail game, which is basically your task is to go around, clean up all the smudges and marks, and make sure you come out full 100% and not get dinged off all your scores. There's also different mini games and puzzles inside each level you go in, either the story-based mode or the Halloween mode. There's also, you have different stats and abilities you can use when you unlock and complete a mission. One of them is to increase your bucket size of water or on your sponge, and it also helps out on like how much you can scrub out the stains, as well as like how long it lasts until you have to like dunk it in water again. There's also different types of sets of music you can find in each area during that time of figuring out what has happened to the scene that you're cleaning up, and also like in special little nooks and crannies when you unlock puzzles. Now, as I mentioned, there's different modes. There's the Halloween modes for each area, and if you unlock the area by doing it 100%, you get special skins for your equipment. So instead of having like, you know, your standard mop you can have it as a fish. Or what about your power wash tool? You don't like how it looks? No problem. Proton Blaster. But those are special examples. Your other tools also get special skins if you unlock the Halloween mode, or if you go on True Cleaner mode, which is hard mode for the crime scene cleaners. You're limited on seeing stains. Your skill sets you unlocked over the time is shortened, and you don't get special abilities for your buckets of water to allow you to clean longer. If you unlock that, then your items like your sponge, bucket of water, power tool, mop, your lights, all of it becomes super shiny and gold. That makes Midas super jealous. Reason for why I picked this as the game of the year, because it's definitely I turn my brain off mode. I work constantly on during evenings and nights, so I really don't have much time to like sit down and enjoy a game, and I want to play something that just shuts my brain off and I can just clean and do whatever. I like simulations that allows me to just scrub the stains away, and this is why I like this game a lot, because not only the story is a little bit interesting, but also the areas you clean and the story of like what happened in the area you're cleaning is really compelling. I also just like to play a game that just turns my brain off and I don't need to do anything really important. The game is available on Steam as well as on mobile from the last time I looked. On Steam is $24.99 USD dollars. There is a sale that's going on right now on when this is being posted that it's about $20 because of a sale. If you just wanted a game to turn off your brain, highly recommend it. You'll enjoy it, you'll sit back, and then you can cause a little like messy mayhem in the process of it. But yeah, Crime Scene Cleaners is my 2025 game of the year because it's nice, it's relaxing, and you can clean the floors with a fish. So yeah, thank you for watching this clip. Happy New Year as always, everyone, and I'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
Game this year is Risk of Rain 2. Yeah, I know, it technically only received a major update this year technically, but with the sheer amount of content they added, I think that makes it worth putting here. I love how this game handles loot. Like, yeah, sure, you can spend your time looting the entire stage, but as time passes in this game, the harder the game gets, the bigger the stats the enemy have. So it might be a better approach to only spend a little bit of time on the stage only partially looting it. Sure, you might not be as strong for it, but neither will your enemies. The game's just a balancing act between your own strength progression along with the enemies, and then eventually, when you get far enough in the game, you get to a point where you one-shot enemies consistently. But if an enemy is alive long enough to so much as look at you, it one-shots you as well. Sadly, this kind of ruins it for healing items and makes it less important than damage, but 'tis the nature of the beast, you know? My favorite character in the game is the basic bitch commando. He isn't too fancy. He shoot gun! and shoot big gun, and shoot fast gun. Just the basics, and that's just how I enjoy it. And the best part about this game is how it just begs you to break it. You want to cosplay the United States of America and spread your sweet, sweet liberty everywhere? And by liberty, I mean shoot missiles at everyone for your own financial gain? Then you can do that. Just stack a few 4-leaf clovers and a few ATGs, and you are set. It's absolutely amazing.
Hey everybody! My name's Gemini Hero, and my favorite game I played in 2025 would have to be Chicory, A Colorful Tale. It's been out for a while now, first releasing in June of 2021, but I'll confess it sort of slipped by me originally. I saw it marketed here and there, and most of the material made it out to be a kind of a cozy game. Something you play at your own pace for the vibes and atmosphere, while you treat each screen like your own personal coloring book. After diving into the game last year, I couldn't be more thrilled to report that while the game does have those elements, it's also so much more than that. The premise is pretty simple. The world of Chicory is naturally black and white. To combat this, a select few wielders pass down the magic paintbrush, a powerful artifact with the ability to literally paint the world with any color they can imagine. You play not as the titular current wielder Chicory, but her janitor, a little dog named Pizza, or whatever your favorite food happens to be. When sweeping up one day, Pizza finds the beautifully painted world suddenly drained of all its color. Finding the magic paintbrush abandoned, it's up to you to find out what happened to Chicory, and do your best to fill the world in with colors of your own along the way. From there, you speak with the town's inhabitants, optionally tackle some side quests here and there, and find ways to progress through the world and, yes, even dungeons, rich with puzzles you solve by painting. Over the course of the game, Pizza gains access to new abilities to enhance their use of the brush and give access to new locations. It really is kind of like a little Zelda experience. The puzzles you'll experience in dungeons are engaging and have great variety. Sometimes the puzzles can be quite difficult, but if you ever run into a roadblock, why not give your parents a call? Your mom will answer the phone first and give a more general hint in the right direction, but if you still need some help, your dad will be more than happy to tell you the solution outright. It's a very charming approach to a hint system, and honestly I found myself calling them sometimes just to hear what they had to say. They might even have flavor text after specific plot points, so be on the lookout for that. While the ability to paint any screen in the game is ultimately optional, I really found myself painting in many of the game's locales just because I wanted to. Each setting in the game has its own associated color palette, which can range from bright summer greens and blues to warm autumn golds and oranges, and even bright neon glows for caves and dungeons. While you only need as much paint as required to solve puzzles, many side activities and even some main activities will prompt the player to paint or draw things themselves. The tools that Pizza has available to them are a touch crude, lacking the ability to add fine detail or even draw straight lines, but this is very much on purpose. At its heart, Chicory is trying to put you in Pizza's position, an untrained artist who's unsure of themselves, but doing their best. Trust me when I say that the narrative payoff of Chicory works best when the player is able to combat their inner critic and really feel free to express themselves. Still, if you find yourself a bit frustrated at the lack of colors at your disposal, rest assured that you will gain access to more colors later in the game. And while you wait, there are plenty of other reasons to explore the world of Chicory outside of just making progress. Off the beaten path, you can find patterns such as simple shapes or textures, and various different hats and outfits to customize your style with. You can find characters later on who act as hint systems for any of those collectibles you might have missed, so completionists need not fear missing out on an outfit or two, as you can always come back to find them again later. Though it all begins in black and white, there's a wide variety of locales to explore in Chicory, including swamps, caves, mountains, and even big cities. Each place carries its own distinct flavor and atmosphere. The spectacular soundtrack by Lena Raine, the brilliant composer of Celeste, does a wonderful job of adding its own color to the experience. From calming and peaceful to surprisingly driven and exciting, you can really feel the emotion in each location. And there is a surprising amount of emotion on offer here. While the world of Chicory is primarily an optimistic one, there is a lurking darkness under the surface, and a real sense of weight around the obligation of what it means to wield the brush. Chicory is not at all afraid to tackle tougher themes of depression, responsibility, the weight of tradition, and, maybe most importantly, the idea that everyone has an inner artist with something valuable to express. The cast is also impressively memorable. Even many of the side characters you'll encounter can have a surprising amount of progression given the game's overall brevity. All told, the game is only about 12 hours long, if you take your time. That doesn't mean there's not more than enough charming side content for those who want to squeeze everything out of the experience, but it does make it easily digestible, even for those with otherwise packed schedules. I dare not spoil any more, but believe me when I say that I was mistaken when I wrote this game off as just a simple, lighthearted experience. If you found any of what I just mentioned interesting at all, regardless of whether you'd call yourself an artist or not, you should definitely give Chicory, A Colorful Tale, a try.
Hi everyone! One game I feel like truly stood out amongst the rest this year to me was Peak. It truly defined my year. Peak's a silly little game that was originally supposed to be a small little game jam collab between Landfall and AggroCrab. However, this game blew up and became a huge success, even having a content recently starring Baby No Money, Iron Mouse, and Vanilla Mace. My bestie Tomo and I climbed to the Peak countless times, so much so that we have almost every single session in the game. I'm looking at you, Wolf Sash. So many incredibly funny moments came from this silly little game. It made the world feel so cinematic, whether you were bonked off the mountain by a bug, or grabbed and tossed around by a tornado. I know it's a long shot, a lot of people played this game, but if you haven't, you should check it out. I've always been a big fan of Landfall, and now I'm a big fan of AggroCrab. Okay, I don't know how I didn't get hurt.
Over the past year, I've played several interesting games on stream. Not necessarily good games, but interesting ones. Games with texture to them. Games that tried things. Which is ironic, because at surface level, Twilight Princess, my favorite game I've streamed this year, does none of that. The game was largely a reaction to the fans' dislike of Wind Waker being watery, cartoony, and nothing like Ocarina of Time. The devs asked, what if we did a soft remake of Ocarina? Will that make fans happy? And then proceeded to ask several more questions, like, what if we added a bunch of really cool one-off dungeon items? And what if Link was a wolf? And of course, what if we shipped Link with a short stack imp girl instead of Zelda for once? And because this is a late GameCube, early Wii era game, Nintendo didn't look at anything the devs were actually doing and rubber stamped approval on the game because they said it had motion controls. A move they would regret later. The result is a game that, in my opinion, is among the best Zelda games out there. The dark fantasy at Twilight aesthetics are beautiful, the dungeon items are some of the most unique in the series, and the characters made this game's story stick with me. One of my favorite parts of the game is the aesthetics. The entire game's designed to be a dark and gothic world. Everything has a level of detail to this effect. The ironworks in Goron Mines are rusted and red-tinted. Bridge of Eldin is crumbling old stonework. And Snow Peak Ruins is an abandoned Victorian mansion in the ice. Everything's dark, everything's a little dead, and everything's ruined. It's beautiful. In my opinion, the color palette still manages to be vibrant and interesting, while still generally leaning towards this dark and vibrant design. I think this really works when you contrast the dark yet vibrant overworld to the sepia-tinted Twilight realm in the different sections of the game. Honestly, my only complaint is that short deliberately shanking your brightness down, the lantern item didn't get as much use as it could have. Speaking of wishing the lantern got more use, that is one weakness of the game. It gives you so many interesting and unique dungeon items, but doesn't use them much outside of the dungeon you find them in. You get a pair of claw shots, spinning latches onto walls, huge ball and chain that can break walls of ice, just to name a few. There's a few other underused items, but the game rarely gives a use for the first ones I listed, let alone these. I loved zipping around the crumbling dungeon with double claw shots and spinning around Arbiter's ground like a top. But outside of the Dungeon of Origin, there's only one or two spinner puzzles. Ball of chain isn't used to do anything bomb arrows can't already do, and the only reason double claw shots get used is because, like most Zelda games, puzzle design center around Zelda's generic items, those being bows, bombs, boomerangs, hook shots, and current dungeon's item. I understand why, that if each dungeon used or could use every item, puzzle and level complexity would explode. But it just feels like a shame that there's so many cool items that went underused simply because they are too unique to fit in. And finally, I have to mention Binda. There are so many great characters in this game, but I just don't have time to share all my thoughts on them. Wolf Link is already one of the coolest features the game has, with it adding a lot of new puzzles and gameplay twists, but the fact that it partners you with a sassy, dismissive little imp who slowly opens up to you over the course of the game, amazing. Zelda games have a reputation for your partner being, well, annoying. Navi needs no explanation there. Tattle from Majora's Mask is gratingly rude and entitled, and Fi from Skyward Sword mostly just exists to tutorialize at you, tell you things you already know, and that your Wii remote's almost dead. But Midna, no, she actually feels like she has a presence in the story. Her design's great, and she gets some character development. The change from her introduction, where she treats Link like garbage and guilt trips him into working for her, to the end where she's visibly shaken up when talking to him at Arbiter's Ground, asking him for help, is just beautiful. At the start, she expects Link's help, like he owes her, but by the end, her body language and dialogue makes it clear that she trusts Link, but is worried he might hate her rightfully for everything she's done. The game is incredibly beautiful and well made, with some of my favorite dungeon items in the series, and a story that actually cares about characters who aren't Link. If I'm being honest, I'd be more than fine with having Skyward Sword flopping and Breath of the Wild never being made if it meant the series carried on making games in the style of Twilight Princess. There are good games after, sure, but to me they just don't hold a candle to Twilight Princess.